The forgotten realm of Punt. In the distant past, a mysterious and resource-rich land known as Punt intrigued the ancient Egyptians. They spoke of it as a source of luxury goods: ivory, gold, incense, rare animals, and aromatic woods. Though its exact location has eluded scholars for centuries, prevailing theories suggest it lay somewhere along the Red Sea coast, likely covering parts of present-day Somalia, Eritrea, Djibouti, or eastern Sudan. The earliest mention of Punt appears on the Palermo stone, an ancient artifact listing Egyptian royal records from the 5th dynasty. Dating to around the 24th century BC, this stone references expeditions to acquire materials essential to the religious and funerary practices of ancient Egypt, especially myrrh and frankincense. One of the most detailed accounts of these journeys comes from the reign of Queen Hatshepsut in the 15th century BC. Reliefs at her temple in Deir el-Bahari show an elaborate naval voyage to Punt, complete with imagery of the goods received and the people encountered. Egyptian ships returned laden with gold, ebony, panther skins, baboons, and incense trees prized for their ceremonial value. Despite these detailed visual records, modern scholars remain divided about Punt's exact position. Some have argued it may have extended into Ethiopia or even parts of Arabia. However, the flora and fauna mentioned, especially African species like giraffes and the myrrh tree, support the idea that Punt was situated firmly within Africa's Horn region. There's also speculation that the territory of Punt may have straddled both sides of the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. The narrow crossing, just 15 miles wide, would have been easily navigable using ancient seafaring techniques, which the Egyptians clearly possessed. Archaeobotanical findings lend additional weight to the African theory. Pollen preserved in ancient incense containers matches plant species found in the coastal regions of the Horn of Africa. Descriptions of the land lush, humid, and rich with valuable vegetation further match the coastal geography of that region. As Egypt's dynastic power waned, so too did contact with Punt. By the end of the New Kingdom around 1070 BC, foreign trade became more difficult to maintain due to internal instability and competition from rising regional powers like the Assyrians and emerging Arabian trade networks. During the late period, when Egypt was often under foreign rule, including by the Persians, references to Punt faded almost entirely. Although Greek and Roman geographers later alluded to wealthy lands in Africa, they lacked the direct ties the Egyptians once held. Today, the Somali region of Puntland draws its name from this ancient kingdom, although the connection is symbolic rather than archaeological. The land of Punt, once a key player in the ancient world's economy, remains an enigma, half history, half legend. Predators of the Iron Tracks. In 1898, British engineers working in colonial Kenya embarked on the construction of a railway bridge across the Tsavo River. What followed wasn't just an engineering struggle, but one of the most disturbing episodes in the history of wildlife attacks on humans. Over several months, 2 male lions began stalking and killing the workers building the Uganda Railway, earning infamy as the Tsavo man-eaters. The region of Tsavo is an unforgiving landscape of dense bush, rock-strewn terrain, and blistering heat. The project drew thousands of Indian and African laborers, all working under brutal conditions. The appearance of the lions added an element of terror. At first, missing workers were written off as deserters or victims of crocodiles, but it soon became evident that lions were dragging people from tents at night and sometimes attacking in daylight. They appeared to show no fear of fire, noise, or human presence. By the end of that year, the killings had escalated to the point where progress on the railway halted entirely. Workers fled, and the British-appointed engineer, Lieutenant Colonel John Henry Patterson, had to become a lion hunter. Patterson found the animals elusive and unnervingly intelligent. Traps were avoided. Ambushes failed. In his memoir, The Man-Eaters of Tsavo, he wrote about the lions' uncanny ability to avoid danger. They often left their victims uneaten, prompting fears that the killings were driven by malice rather than hunger. Local workers came to believe the lions were supernatural beings or had been sent by hostile tribes through magic. Patterson, however, attributed their behavior to disrupted ecosystems. Drought and a widespread disease known as rinderpest had decimated local prey like buffalo, forcing the lions to seek alternative food sources. The first lion was killed in early December 1898 after multiple gunshots. It was over 9 feet long. The second, taken weeks later, required an extended pursuit and several wounds before finally collapsing. Both were manless, common among Tsavo lions, and notably large. Patterson reported that the lions killed 135 people. Modern research suggests a number closer to 35. The discrepancy likely comes from combining actual deaths with disappearances and deaths from unrelated causes. Nonetheless, the terror was real and unprecedented. Some scientists have proposed that dental issues may have played a role. One of the lions had a severe abscess and a broken tooth, which would have made taking down wild prey painful, whereas attacking unarmed humans required less effort. Another possible factor was the railway itself. The construction noise and human presence may have habituated the lions to people. Camps offered not just easy access to food, but no natural predators or rivals. After their deaths, Patterson had the skins preserved and later sold them to the Field Museum in Chicago. Today, their mounted remains are displayed there, visibly tattered, yet still imposing. They continue to provoke both scientific inquiry and morbid fascination over a century later. The Outlaw's hidden fortune. Cornelius Donahue, better known as Lame Johnny, started his life in Philadelphia around 1850. He was bright, well-behaved, and educated at Goward College. But his life eventually veered from promise to infamy. After a failed attempt to live as a cowboy in Texas, where he was suspected of cattle rustling, he headed to the Black Hills during the gold rush of 1876. He tried prospecting and even served briefly in law enforcement and bookkeeping roles. But his criminal past followed him. Once exposed as a horse thief, Johnny returned to outlaw life, leading a gang that specialized in robbing stagecoaches and stealing livestock. Their most famous heist took place in 1878, when they ambushed the Monitor stagecoach, which was transporting a large payload from the Homestake mine. The haul included cash, diamonds, and an estimated 700 pounds of gold. In modern terms, that's worth several $1 million, enough to stir legend. Soon after, the pressure to catch Johnny and his gang intensified. He was captured in 1879, near the Pine Ridge area. On his way to trial in Deadwood, a group of masked men intercepted the stagecoach transporting him. They interrogated him about the treasure's location. When they received no answers, they lynched him and left his body hanging in chains. The gold was never recovered. Some believe it remains buried somewhere in the Black Hills. Others think it was quietly retrieved by his gang, or even by corrupt officials. Despite many attempts over the years, no verified discovery has ever been made.